Hi, everyone. I hope that you had a wonderful 4th of July. It's always nice to have that extra time in those long weekends. For those of you that are new to the group, my name is Shannon DeWitt. I'm a business coach and marketing strategist, and I am here to bring you the mindset and the marketing tips that you need to create a business that you love. And each month, I am doing something a little new. So, this is our second month because mindset, I believe, is such an important part of not only reaching those goals, but reaching those goals in a way that actually feels good. And in working with hundreds of entrepreneurs, and especially throughout my own journey too, I have really seen this combination of strategy and mindset work so wonderfully together that I love being able to bring that to this group, to the people that I work with, so all of my coachees. And you can really see a lot of how this comes together too if you tune into season 5 of the Magnetic Entrepreneur podcast with my amazing coachee, Megan. You'll get to listen in on all of our sessions. Megan has a very strong mindset, but you see how she's evolved to get where she is and how that helps her approach, so her strategy. Because if we don't believe in ourselves, if we don't really believe that we are deserving of this thing that we want, whether we question if we are smart enough, pretty enough, skilled enough, talented enough, or just in general deserving of this type of happiness, it really affects us and the way that we show up. So we are always trying to create or avoid an emotion. And if we don't feel confident in ourselves, we're going to have a really hard time on sales calls. We're going to have a hard time creating content. And business is really just going to feel like there's a lot of friction there, but the friction is actually us. And so it takes a lot longer to create a business where you have that freedom and that financial flexibility that you're looking for. And that's why I'm here. So think of me as your coach. I'm here every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And if you can't join me live, leave your questions. So if you're joining me live today, let me know that you're here, and you're here for this monthly mindset work where we get really intentional about the things that we want to manifest, which means to make real. So the things that we want to bring into fruition inside of our business, and we set some intentions, we pull a card, and I think this is a wonderful practice. I love doing this for myself. And so I thought this would be a fun thing to do inside the group. And then the rest of the month, we go a little deeper into really specific topics. This month, we're going to be talking about client journeys. And when you listen into the podcast, you'll hear Megan and I talk about her client journey and how important this is as a piece to creating her signature marketing system, which means that she has a way to get clients on repeat. And that is what we all want. We all want that signature marketing system. Sounds kind of fancy, but it is, right? Because it's yours and it's specifically for you, for your clients, for the way that you like to do business. So it's not something that I can put on a piece of paper and give to you. It's something that I really help my clients develop. And there's a process to it. So you can listen in and hear that exact process when you are a listener of the Magnetic Entrepreneur podcast. So today we're talking about confidence and how important it is. I can give you tons of examples. But I think that we all have certain things where we know that we just don't feel that confident. So if you don't feel like your business is 1,000% the thing that someone needs to get the result that they want, if you're not 100% sold on that, it's definitely going to come up when you're trying to sell, because people can just sense that. They can sense when you're not confident, and they are looking for that. So the thing about sales is that we're not trying to convince somebody to do something, to buy something that they don't want. We're trying to make sure, because it really is part of our job, make sure that people feel extremely confident in the investment that they're making. Part of how we do that is in that process of telling people who we are, what we do, who we do it for, and why it matters. And also, when you get to the point where you have to talk about your price and what their investment is, if you're like, because I know I've been there, right? I've done that so many times where when I had my design business and I would get to the point where the call was going so great and we had to talk about price, that's where I would start to, in my mind, think, okay, just lower the price, because it's definitely going to be about the price. But it was never about the price. It was always about whether or not I believed I was worth the price, right? And I was actually thinking about that last night for some reason, just laying in bed and thinking about my business. So this is not my first business. My first business was a design studio. And thinking about how different things were. I could easily generate tons of leads, but I was honestly not that great at sales. And I could put a post on Instagram and I mean get hundreds of likes, which is like not that big a deal, but for me, considering I had a really small amount of followers, like that was a lot and get a lot of engagement. But when it came to the calls, that's where I just froze up. Sales was new as it is for many of us. Like we didn't go to school to learn how to be good at sales, right? And when that's one of the things we had to figure out as an entrepreneur. But the big difference between being great at sales and maybe like not being so great in sales and not getting a lot of conversions, I have seen for myself and for so many of my clients is mostly about confidence. Because if you feel confident, if you feel like, hell yes, people need this, like I am making a difference here, right? This is amazing what I'm offering. People, I get them such great results. Like, why would they not want this? That is a totally different thing. Someone who believes in themselves at that level, then it's just the schematics of it, right? It's like, oh, okay, well, I need to follow up this many times, or maybe I need to add this into my sales sequence so that people have some questions answered, before we get on the call. It's those type of things, which is completely different. So I have this client, and I feel like I've told the story a lot, like recently, but I love her so much. She has been on sales calls, but when her confidence changed, she was like, oh my gosh, I did a sales call. And I said, hey, you've been doing sales calls. This is just the first time it really felt like that because you nailed it and you felt so confident. The only thing that changed here was you. So, confidence is a huge thing. And I bet that if you look into your business, you can see places where maybe you don't feel that confident. And so, this is where we're talking about making sure that we're working on the right problem instead of always trying to solve the wrong problem. Because if it's your confidence that you need to work on, it's not going to matter about your strategy. It's not going to matter if you learn more about sales, if you change up your sales sequence. Those kind of things aren't really going to give you the result that you want if it's about confidence. So that is the reason why we're talking specifically about confidence mindset and confidence today. So here are a few things that I love to give my clients to do, which I think is so freaking helpful to help cultivate confidence, because I do believe that if we don't feel that amazing about it, it doesn't mean that we're not. It just means that we need to cultivate that confidence. And some of the reasons why I see people not be as confident, to have some doubts around this area, are because they feel like it's not okay to brag about yourself. And so they have such a hard time. They keep bumping up between this, like, I need to tell people, but that's not okay. Like, that's gross, or, it's not ladylike, or, things like that. So my reframe for that is to really, if that's you, if you feel like, yeah, I'm completely uncomfortable about that, I feel like people are going to be like, look at her. Who does she think she is? Right? Look at her with the big britches, that kind of thing. Think about it like this. It's not for you. It's for the client, because they need to know that they are making a really good decision, and you're not making this up, right? When you're telling people, hey, yeah, this service that I have, it's really great. I really get people results like A, B, and C. You're just stating facts and you're making it so easy for them. So if you're truly in a place of service, you want to serve people, you want to show up, you want to make a big difference, make sure that you're thinking about it as your client, right? You're doing this for them. This is a service to them. It's not it's not bragging, and I'm not even sure that that's wrong, but it's just the word brag has such a negative connotation to it. So let's just change the word. Let's just take out the word brag and say share, or sharing results. Like, I'm not bragging, I'm just sharing results. And if you get really great results for your clients, you should feel good about that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you feeling extremely good about that and then telling people about it. So, again, let's just change the word brag. We are making it really easy for people to know whether or not we're a good fit for them. And that's really a huge part of what sales is. So, a few ways that you can cultivate more confidence is to sit there and actually think about the things that you don't feel that confident about. And if it's about your business and you want to tell people and you want to do things with me, you're like, oh no, I don't know. Then I love to create a brag book. So these different techniques are really more specific to business and feeling really confident about your services. But of course, it may be something completely different for you. And a lot of my clients have that too, where maybe you just don't feel like you deserve it, or for some reason you're just not good enough. And that's where I really love to use NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming, especially time technique, to go to the root cause of some of those feelings, because when we can get rid of that, then we can really change our perspective and start to show up in a different and new way. But these are specific prompts that you can journal on to help you if you're just not as confident in your business. If you feel like, oh, I don't want to brag, or you start to think, well, comparing yourself to someone else and thinking that you're not good enough. So the first one is to create a brag book. This is actually something that they make and sell for grandparents to show pictures of their grandkids. But I think we should all have a brag book. This can be a notebook, it can be a Google document. In one episode, we're talking about this, and Megan shares that she writes notes to herself and just in one journal for days that she is not feeling as great. So your brag book is all the positive feedback. And here's something else interesting that I've noticed a lot with clients is that, and myself, right? This is always all of you guys and me. A lot of times we get positive feedback and we just don't hear it. We don't even think about it. Our minds are either so focused on the next thing, or we're so cautious about negative feedback that when we get positive feedback, we're just like, oh, that's great. And then we move on. So creating a brag book makes you stop and show a little gratitude for yourself and your business, and really appreciate where you are when clients say things to you. This is not that it's not that it has to be in a like a template to capture testimonials. It doesn't have to be that specific. And I think that's what a lot of us think, is that the client submits a testimonial and they say, something about how great you are, and that's it. But that's not it, because they say things all the time like, wow, that thing that you said to me really stuck out and made a difference, or I can't believe you did this. This is amazing. Like, any kind of feedback they're giving you that's positive, make a note of it, because not only is it really good to help you with your sales, but it cultivates your confidence. Another thing that I really love to use is the 5 whys exercise. In this particular instance, when we are getting so specific about the transformation that we're making, why people want to hire us, at the end of it, you're like, yeah, I feel pretty good about that. This is amazing. So the way it works is you ask yourself, okay, thinking about your business, and you want to write down exactly what you do. So I am a person who helps people who, and whatever problem that you solve for them. And then you ask yourself, why does this matter? And you write the answer and you say, well, why does that matter? And then why does that matter? Until you get through 5 times. And the idea is it takes you from something really general, like I help people feel, oh, let's use this for example. I help people cultivate confidence. Okay, well, why does that matter? Because entrepreneurs that are confident make more sales. Okay, well, why does that matter? Because entrepreneurs who make more sales have financial freedom and more flexibility. Okay, well, why does that matter? Because entrepreneurs who are moms that have financial freedom and flexibility get to raise their families on their terms. And it's like, whoa, that sounds a lot more powerful. And then just saying, like, I help people feel confident. You can see the difference between those two things. So I help people. So how do you value, or how much value do you feel it has if you say I help people feel confident versus I help people cultivate the confidence they need to have financial freedom and that allows them to raise their families any way they want to? Totally different, even though we're talking about the same person. So the 5 whys is a great exercise for that. The last one is a certain statement, and it's an I am statement. So I am that I am is a phrase that's used in the Bible, but the Hebrew translation of that, I am who I am, is also translated like I will become what I choose to become. I am what I am. I will become what I choose to become. Or another translation of that is I create whatever I create. So just sit with that for a second. Another way to say it is, I will be what I will be. It is taking the control and saying, I shape my future, right? I am that I am. I'm the manifester. I'm in control. Every day when I wake up, I say 3 I am statements. It really sets my intention. So I would love for you to think about this as, what are you wanting to manifest? If you can create anything you want and you are the creator of your own life, what are you creating this month? I am that I am. I am what I am. I will be what I will be. These are really great ways to set that amazing intention for the month. And every time I say it, it just makes me feel good. So I start my day this way. I am whatever it is. So I am an amazing partner. So if I'm an amazing partner and I've declared that I'm an amazing partner, then I'm setting myself up that day to think, what ways can I be a really great partner to my husband? If I say I am a 6-figure business owner, then I have set out the intention of how am I going to act that day as a 6-figure business owner. So I am what I am. I love this one so much. Okay, so the journaling prompts, as we get into this a little bit more, these are 3 prompts that you can use to take this a step further. Okay, so very similar to the WISE exercise is, how does my work impact my clients? What does it allow them to do, to have, or to feel? Number 2 is more about you. So getting into the feeling of being confident. What does that feel like for you? What does it look like for you? When was a time when I felt really confident? And then you think about that time and you write it down. What did it look like? What did it feel like? And then what accomplishments did I make to get there? So what actions did you take to feel confident in this particular situation? Number 3 is where we're thinking about our future and how confidence relates to our business. And that is, what would it look like to have that same confidence in my business? So if you felt really confident, what would you do differently? And then what accomplishments, so what actions do I need to take now so that I can feel confident now? Okay, so those are the 3 journaling prompts, and I'll make sure and list these all out inside of the post for this. And then the next thing we're going to do is pull a card. So we've really talked a lot about confidence, why it's important, how to cultivate confidence, and how that can really change the course of your business. And so thinking about confidence, I'm going to pull a card from this deck that I really love, and it's called the Super Attractor, which is kind of perfect for the magnetic entrepreneur, right? We're all trying to be attractors here. And this is just to give us something to focus our intention on of how we can create more confidence that is going to help us have the most lucrative month, so the most abundant month possible for us in life and business. And we have, believing in spiritual guidance gives me certainty and the freedom to keep dreaming even when I can't yet see the results. This is actually one of my favorite cards from this deck because that is the hardest part in business. The ultimate hardest part is, how do you remain focused and confident even when you can't see the result? So this is actually true confidence, believing in yourself, believing in your dream, believing that your success is inevitable while you're building it. So I believe my success is inevitable, believing in myself, showing up like, of course, everything is going to happen for me. Of course, the universe is conspiring in my favor. Of course, I'm going to build this amazing business, even when you don't have that many followers, even when your calendar of clients is not booked. This is what it takes. Believing in spiritual guidance gives me the certainty and the freedom to keep dreaming, even when I can't yet see the results. Confidence. Because most people who don't have the confidence, they feel like they got things that they need, and then they have to keep believing in themselves, keep showing up every day, keep doing the work until they get booked out until they make the money that they want. And most people can't handle that because it doesn't feel good, right? We need confirmation that we're doing the right thing. We want to feel like we're doing the right thing. We want that positive reinforcement. And it takes a lot to be able to continue to show up and work through, even when you're not getting it. So, most people, this is the part where they switch and try a different strategy, which actually that means they're starting over from scratch, right? This is when they start to think, maybe I should get a job. This is when they look for different resources and different ways to make income and then let their businesses fall to the side. So, making sure that we have confidence to stick through until we see the results. Okay. The last thing we're going to do is some tapping. If you've never done tapping before, it's also called emotional freedom technique. This is one of the ways that we can move some energy inside of our bodies to make sure that we are feeling better, right? So it really helps with this portion of trying to remain confident, even when things are maybe like not making us feel like we're on the right track, when we're questioning it, when our brains just start to freak out, right? Tapping is one of the most favorite things that I do to help relieve stress. I truly, truly love it. And so we're going to do a really quick tapping routine. Just know that this sequence, you can make it your own. You want to think about a time where you're not feeling that confident. So maybe it's something that you feel like you want to try in your business, but you keep finding excuses not to do it, whether it's following up with leads, showing up on video, starting a Facebook group, whatever it might be for you. Really sink into that. What's going on in your mind? What are you feeling? And this tapping exercise, like I said, you can customize it for you. You can tap as long as you want to. It's one of the few things in life where like more is actually better. You're not going to tap yourself out or anything. So we'll just get started. The first thing we want to do is acknowledge the way that we're feeling. So even though I'm not feeling confident in my business right now, I truly and completely accept myself. Even though I don't feel confident in my business right now, I truly and completely accept myself. Even though I'm not feeling confident in my business right now, I truly and completely accept myself. Now that we've acknowledged how I feel, we're going to start the sequence, okay? And this is going to be going through and really letting those emotions come out so that come up so they can come out. So any kind of like crazy thoughts that you have, you want to let those out. I'm never going to make enough money. My audience is too small. Nobody cares about what I have to say. People don't engage with me. Maybe I made a mistake thinking that I could start my own business. Nothing I do gets me the results that I want. Maybe people can't afford me. Maybe I'm just not good enough. Maybe I don't know enough. I'm never going to be able to compete because there's too many people out there. The market is really crowded. I'm never going to stand out. I don't have a lot of followers like other people do. I don't do things the way other people do. And now we want to reframe this into a more positive turn. So we can take the last thing we said, which is I don't do things the way that other people do. I do have a process that works for me. I've tried this process with other clients and they've gotten really good results. I know that my process works. I'd love to try this process with more people because the work that I do is important. And this work is really rewarding for me too. And I know that I can get other people the same great results. Because I've gotten myself good results. I've gotten other people great results. And I know that I can do this work. And I know that I can create positive change. And I know that I'm good at this. I know enough. I do enough. And I'm worthy of doing this work and getting beautifully compensated for it. And that is it. So make that routine your own. We started here. We acknowledged how we felt. We went through the sequence: head, side of the eyebrow, under the eye, right here on this cheekbone, under the nose, on the chin, right here under our collarbone, and this little divot where it has a little fatty spot, under your arm, like where your bra is. And we went from negative to positive. I hope that you enjoyed this and that you feel like it's setting you on a good track for the rest of the month. If you have any questions at all, make sure and leave them in the comments and I will answer them for you. And join me here next week, same time at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, and bring your questions. So think of me as your business coach. Bring your questions and I will answer them live. And if you're showing up here for the replay, just let me know. Let me know what intentions you're setting for this week, and I'll make sure and put all of the journaling prompts and things inside the caption for this post.